right, we are now live. And so, hello everyone. This is Nancy Rebecca again and again and again this week. I know you're all going to miss me next week.
Well, I'm tuning in so I can see you.
Oh, that was pretty good, Yvonne. That was pretty good. So we have a couple of you that are coming on now, and this particular interview is with Yvonne Kilcup. So just letting you all get a chance to find us here. If someone who's on could go ahead and post in the comments section, I would love it. So we are live on YouTube, Yvonne, just to let you know, as well as Facebook. So
Okay.
yeah, we're up to 7. So I'm just going to wait for a comment before I actually get started. Hi, Angela. Hello, Kathy. Aloha. That's got to be Claudia. I'm going to say that's got to be Claudia. So hello, everyone. It's Nancy Rebecca, and these are the 2 days. Oh my gosh, this is Monday. So we've been kind of going at this for a full week. And as I said, you probably all are getting kind of tired of seeing me all the time, but you're going to miss me next week because we won't be having all of this next week, and it's going to seem really, really quiet. But I will tell you, Yvonne Kilcup and Kathy, who I will be interviewing at 2, are part of the team that makes the dream work here in Intuitive Mind. So specifically with Yvonne, Yvonne and I have been married for 22 years now, and she has traveled the world with me, and she's gone on great adventures with me, and we've had all sorts of incredible experiences, and we always say we need to write a book together. But Yvonne has worked with me in that 22 years, really being an enormous support in the background. But then she also ended up going through the program, and she's been mentoring students for that entire time. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what mentoring looks like for her, because that's one of the bonus packages that is in Psychic Mastery that can be an option for you. So we'll have her talk a little bit about that first, but I'm going to let her talk about herself. So if Yvonne, if you share a little bit about your life and how you we're going to laugh a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it just does seem kind of be odd to be interviewed by you who have been with me for the last 22 years. But before we came together, we knew each other as nurses in the Open Heart Surgery Recovery Unit at St. Joe's. And gosh, we must have known each other for 15 years then. And then in the year 2000, I took a healing touch class. Well, first, let me back up just a little bit. I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I must have a spiritual program. I went to AA for a number of years, and 5 or 6 years of sobriety by the time I met Nancy. And my life had changed a lot just as a result of sobriety, and I had really started to rework my spiritual program anyway. I was raised in a very fundamental, literal Christian sort of cult. And that programming is strong stuff. Yeah, we were just encouraged to swallow everything whole and not really vet anything and just trust in the older brothers. And everything would be okay if we did, followed all the rules. Well, that's really not my nature. I have lots of questions. I'm Sagittarian. I like to contemplate the reasons for existence, etc. But getting back to around the year 2000, so at that point I had about 5 years of sobriety, and I met Nancy No, I was on an elevator and there was a sign. I hadn't seen Nancy in about 5 years. And there was a sign that said she was giving a talk at Marlene's, the local health food place. And I thought, oh, because I knew I had to leave nursing. I just had this feeling, but I was really conflicted because I loved it. But I was curious about what Nancy was doing because she was talking about metaphysical stuff. And I trusted her. I knew she was a solid person. I didn't know her that well, but I knew she was solid. And previously, ironically, I taught her how to recover open heart surgery patients. Mm-hmm. We won't go into that story, but it was kind of fun. So come 2000, taking a ride in the elevator, I thought, man, because I was interested in other ways of healing. And I knew I've always known I was a healer, or I have that connection with people and a strong empathetic nature. I am a knower, feeler, and have developed other senses in the last 20 years. So anyway, I called Nancy and we got into this conversation. She invited me to a healing touch class. Well, the experience I had on the table changed my life. There was such a profound peace. I'd been struggling since I got sober with working with my monkey mind. And so it was just like this place that I went that felt so healing, and I felt so refreshed when I came back. So I wanted to learn how to do that. And then they invited me to Africa, which was like, well, yeah. So, because I love to travel. So in the year 2000, we got reconnected, and like the sparks were flying. It was an unexpected reconnection that was just beyond what we had known before. So we traveled to Africa, and by the time we were through that trip, helping to teach and hold space for healing touch classes and interacting with the culture there, we both fell in love with it. And wow, it's been a speed train since then, really. So really, I mean, hasn't it? Honestly, be honest. Oh, yeah. So then when we came back, I started to try to date Nancy a little bit, and she was talking about this blowing roses thing, and I heard her talk to other people, and they were talking about all this whole mysterious language around shifting energy, and I was curious, and then as our connection grew, I knew that out of self-defense, I better learn how to blow roses. But I didn't really want to enter a church again, and we did learn at the Church of Divine Man. So that was a struggle for me. But I did. My curiosity overcame my fear of walking through those doors. I challenged them, the leadership there, and I'm afraid, and they challenged me to change. And part of me, everything about me is extreme. My body hates to change and loves to hang on to things. My spirit is way ahead of me, wanting me to have these amazing experiences and grab all the new things in life I can to play with. So definitely going through that 2.5-year program. Wow, I resisted a lot of the teachings, and I took in what I could at the time. And then we moved to South Africa, and we began people wanted to know how we learned how to read. And so we developed level 1 and level 2 of our course, our old course structure. And so we wrote books. There was no internet. We didn't have any books. We did it all from memory. It was kind of amazing. What techniques she didn't remember, I remembered, and vice versa. And so we wrote these 2 books and started teaching these people while we were living there so we could feed ourselves. And it was amazing. But I have found through the years, so through teaching other people and holding space, my own connection to the techniques grew. And then we came back here. Well, we went to Thailand, we went to Nepal.
We basically
Traveled for about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, Spirit had come through, and that's a whole other story, but said, sell everything and become portable. That's the only information I'd been given. Sell everything and become portable.
Well, so by the time we were together, which was 2001, and she told me that, I said, well, if God told me to sell everything and be portable, what are you doing here? Yeah. And so she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, so really. So
you had your house, I had my house. We sold everything and we moved to South Africa, and we lived out of a suitcase for 5 years. We were on the road teaching these techniques in India, Nepal, and Thailand, and South Africa. And I don't even remember all the places that we went, just from country to country to country, because at the time, I had tried to get these techniques here in our Western culture, and it was just lots of locked doors. So, but we found the doors wide open in other countries.
Oh, yes. Nobody in Tacoma wanted to talk about what a chakra was. No. And so anyway, my connection to, it was like a course in immersion for me. And that's what it takes for me sometimes when there's some resistance. Actually, it turns out to be a lot of fear. I had a lot of fear that was based in the old religion that I picked the pearls out of before moving forward. But it's taken me some time to sift through things. And and so I find that I'm really the hardest student to work with.
So one of the things you always joke about is that, you say I'm the Harry Potter that
I'm
went
the
to
muggle.
wizard school, and she's the muggle.
I'm the muggle. It's the hardest thing. I was not a sit stiller. I was not somebody sit, I love to move. I'm on the move, on the go. I thought it is actually a miracle that I can get lost in meditation now. To me, it's a miracle. And I'm not counting the minutes or waiting for the egg timer to go off anymore. I just know my day is going to be better when I'm include that in my day. But I still resist. My resistance looks different than what other people's looks. So I use the tools. It's all about being willing. It's about being willing. And at first, I think I was way too afraid to change too fast. So I had to get rid of a lot of fear. There was just a lot of fear, a tremendous amount of judgment in my energy field. And I love to hold on. I'm waiting for nostalgia that never happened all the time. I don't want to let go of anything. It's really taking 20 years for me to retrain myself, in lots of different ways. But I would say the last 5 years, I really I know myself much better. It's taken some work. You have to do your own work. I mean, that's just the bottom line. There's no switch to flip. I was in classes with Nancy for 17
That's what I was going to talk about.
Years. For 17 years. And, that's how thick I am, guys. I have to have an immersion course in things. But
what I want to say here, God, is that you were in class with me for 17 years. You were this enormous support system, because here I'm in the front of the class teaching, and Yvonne is standing in the background, really grounding, holding the room, really helping to keep the room nice and clear, nice and bright at a gold vibration, so that all of us in the classroom, as we're kind of transforming and learning new techniques, could more easily, I have any of you ever been in a situation where it's like you're in that room and it's just getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to suffocate if I can't get out of here? Well, that's the reason why she was keeping, because your stuff comes up. It's going to come up during Psychic Mastery 1 as well. So she would just keep clearing it out of the room. And it turned out that she just had this incredible knack for the student that was really struggling, or if they had a meltdown, she'd kind of take them off to the side, take them in another room and work one-on-one with them. And she just had this way of just being really grounded, really centered. And you were the only person in that room with her. And she was just able to really help people a lot get over that and get back on track. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Oh, I call it helping the runners. People that were like ready to bolt. Because back then, especially in the early days, there was a lot of fear around coming to a class like this, around, oh, Nancy, your picture's frozen. Oh, now it's unfrozen. It's okay. Where was I? Where was I? We were all busy trying to figure it out in the beginning. In the beginning, I would help you teach level 1 and 2 by teaching different sections. And I really tried hard to be comfortable in the front of the room. And it's just I didn't enjoy it. I never could get real comfortable. But I tried for about 5 years, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And then I went more into running in the background and holding the energy and, yes, keeping the room clear so the work could continue. And working with those one-on-one with those folks that, a big chunk of pain would come up or a big chunk of fear would come up. And it's like, I can help you clear that. And your life's going to change if we can do that. I'm going to hold the space. I'm going to talk. And then during that process, I used to sit them down and read it and clear it for them. But what I found out through a couple of 2, 3, 4, 5 years of doing that was that it's really much more meaningful to have someone, even if I have to coach them on a new tool, much more, there's a greater ownership if I can guide you to clear your own old energy, to get your own symbols, to read what you need to read, to get the spiritual lesson, and clear it. It's empowering to help somebody do it themselves. It's like teaching people to fish instead of just doing it for people. But we used to do that all the time. So it's been a real progression. And then I had to practice healing touch and reading. And I was still nursing at the time. I didn't quit that till about maybe 6 years ago. 5 years ago. Anyway, it was just too many hats. And I got kind of just burnt on all of that. I tend to overgive and get too, I had to learn more about keeping my energy separate and cleaning things after I was done, and have the time and the patience to do that. So then I decided to do mentoring online. That was before COVID. I just decided that
you've been doing one-on-one mentoring, goodness, 5 or 6 years now.
As long as we've been here in this house, about 6 years, I think. And I would mentor anybody. It didn't matter if they ever had a class from us or not, or knew the tools. I would just teach them the tools, and we would, so there's been several iterations of that. And what I really enjoy is making sure that everybody that comes into one of our programs can grasp the basics. Because I've been in the middle of my stuff, when I'm the stuckest of the stuck, part of it is just becoming willing to sit down and use a tool for me. I guess I'm that stubborn. So, and then you start with the simplest tools. You just start blowing roses or just ground and breathe on some days. And that's, to me, the universe meets you where you are. If you sit down with the intention of trying to find some kind of balance, some kind of center in yourself, the universe is going to meet you there. That's what I've found. I just got to get myself to sit down and have that intention. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with sitting in my stuff. I'm done with playing with this. I'm going to give it up. I'm going to surrender it. And so the basics is a place to return to over and over and over again. We can teach you any number of really interesting, fascinating techniques, but there are the basics, which most of which are included in the Psychic Mastery 1. I would say all of the basics are really included in that course. And you pick out the tools that call to you at first and you use them. Certainly always grounding, getting your energy running, calling that support of the earth energy, calling that support consciously of cosmic energy, and being in a flow so that and having your grounding so you can release.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask, there's about 26 people on the call. There's several people, Yvonne, who've already posted that you've helped them so much. If any of you are listening to this call, now or watching the recording later, Yvonne has been a part of your life to kind of help get you over some humps and tough spots, please go ahead and post those in the comment section. But Yvonne, we only have about 9 minutes left. And so would it be possible, without, divulging names and things like that, but just kind of describe what a typical session is with you? Because it's over Zoom and we've already had people who've signed up for the bonus. So that means that every single month they're going to have a one-on-one session with you. And so what's a typical session look like for someone who's going to get started mentoring with you?
Okay. Well, we request that in the beginning you to make the most use of your time, have your energy already running. I mostly just work with people who know how to do that now. Get your grounding going, get your earth energy going, and get your cosmic energy going, and be sitting in meditation for 20 minutes prior to the call. That's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, just to have that flow going. And if you can't feel the flow, just sit and blow roses. And then you come to a lot of people will come to me from years past if they're stuck, or if they have a certain situation in their life, or if they want to get a job, or if they are having issues in their relationship, but they just, how when you're really in your stuff and you can't see your way through, sometimes just having another human be there with you. And so we get into meditation.
To witness,
to help, to hold space, to help you ground, to help the gold flow over you while you're doing the healing, and to watch your field and to cue you what to look for. Usually we start with a rose reading. I have you do a self rose reading. And, and I'm looking at the rose, and I've already looked at the rose before your rose before you've come on. And so I kind of know what I think the issue is, but we follow the guidance of spirit. And so I'll ask you what most pops out at you in this rose reading, and we'll get a symbol or a picture for that. You may not know what that is yet, but you will. And then I'll continue to hold space with you while you clear that. And people experience really big shifts in their ability to see the issue. They grab, while we're there, you always get the spiritual lesson and store that away, because that's the whole point. Then you'll stop attracting that particular issue into your life to have to work through it, because you got the spiritual lesson. You heard what your soul came to hear through having this either financial difficulty or relationship difficulty or things that get your intention in life that you want to work through with some grace. We can help you do that by using your tools. You just change the energy. It's a real paradigm shift just to really know that you can change the energy of a situation. The intention is always to bring it to the highest intended vibration. Does it mean you'll never experience a layer of that issue again? No, not necessarily, but sometimes yes. It depends on how you work with yourself and how you and God, the universe, are working together and what your soul came here to learn. So
let me just leap in here because a couple of people have popped on from YouTube. And they're like, I don't even know how I got to this live, but I'm really drawn here. So just to let you know on YouTube who are new, we have a program that's called Psychic Mastery 1. So you can go to intuitivemind.org, click on the button that says Psychic Mastery 1. Tomorrow's at 5 o'clock is the last day to register for that. So Yvonne is offering a bonus session, one-to-one session to kind of help you as you're learning the technique. She can kind of model and mentor that for you. So the one thing what's some of the biggest misconceptions that people think when they're going to work with you? Like I know one of them is they think that you're going to do the reading for them and they just sit and listen while you.
Yeah, they think that I'm going to fix it. Yeah. But sometimes one of the other things is I'll say, okay, what's behind that? Because I can see that there's something behind that and they're not wanting to, not wanting to go deeper. That's an issue. It's like we've all been through so much in life already, the last few years especially. And it's like, really, do I have to go deeper? Do I have to really drudge up, is it really my relationship with my mom or my dad? Are you kidding? I've already done all that, so, but, those are core spiritual contracts and agreements. So, yeah, we might have to go there. So,
but not always, but Spirit's going to guide it. Spirit's going to guide it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not like you're telling me all this, we're reading a rose, we're reading the energy, we're looking at things from a spiritual perspective, and then we're identifying where there is or isn't flow, where there is or isn't connections, because if you're not connected, things are just not going to happen for you. And if you have grounding, the grounding helps your body and your spirit work together to manifest in this life. And it gives you a place to release things. And right now we're releasing a lot of stuff. We're even releasing things from our ancestors. That's just a whole nother level of things. But to find balance, to be able to get to center, to be able to take charge of your life and to know yourself in a deeper way. I love it, love it, love it when people's lights come on. And the biggest thing I'd say is when you're working with yourself, open your heart, bring in the play. I always say, bring in the crayons and let yourself see what you need to see so you can move on. I didn't want to see my judgment. That was really hard for me. But oh boy, did I have a bucket load of it. I didn't want to see my victim stuff. I'm still clearing that. So, and no shame in that. It just is what it is. So you might as well open your heart and let yourself see it so you can work with it.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you one more question because we've just got a couple more minutes left. You're talking about the judgment or impatience or frustration and all of this stuff that you're clearing and that you don't like to go there. What the heck keeps you going? Has it been life-changing for you these years? Are you a different person? Because what kept you hungry to go forward if you didn't like all the things that you were saying about yourself? So,
well, wow, that's a big question, Nance. I do know. I've always, whether or not there's a God has never been an issue for me. I've always had that strong knowingness about that. And I knew that as far as my addictions go, that I need to keep the spiritual door open. There's just no chance that you're going to stay sober without that door open. And this is my I'd say I was compelled to move forward, much like I was compelled to go to AA years ago. My own discomfort will often get me into the chair, but sometimes, it's, I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn. I didn't want to feel like I was feeling anymore. So, Spirit works with you on an individual basis. So Spirit I would be able to shift myself just enough to see the magic in what just happened. And so then I would go on my merry way, and then stuff would come up again, and I'd go through the same thing again of stubbornness. And then I would sit down and, do a rose reading or clear, and stuff would shift again. And then some big stuff shifted, and that's hard to forget. And then finally, I found that all the fear that was between me and Source, there were several things that impacted that, so it was a layering thing. But I'm so happy to have that not there anymore.
Yeah.
To not feel like I'm a worm that needs saving.
So someone has asked a question, and I would like to ask it of you, and then really, because Kathy will come on it too. So I want to make sure that we have time for that. But this is such a great, I should interview you more often.
Oh, no, that's okay, honey.
All right. So the question is, does this program help us deal with our shortcomings and trauma? How would you answer that?
Yes. I think my own self-healing, a doubt was something I struggled a lot with too. And so I have healed. I'm way better at healing other people's needs because I studied medical, a medical, Nance, help me remember.
Intuitive program.
Well, yes, but I mean, where you would work on knees, where you would, work on the anatomy. I fixed a lot of people's knees, but I couldn't fix my own. I had to go have surgery.
So does the program help people to deal with what they consider their own shortcomings? Could it help them kind of rise up within themselves? And if they do have old trauma, have you ever worked with students in the past that have a traumatic history?
Oh, sure, I have. Yes. No, you can. We can hold a great space a very compassionate space for people who have trauma. I've had trauma. So
and these tools help. They definitely
I'm used to the triggers. Definitely. That's, a lot of that is first chakra work. And then, but again, we go with where Spirit leads us, and Spirit is infinitely smarter than I think I am, where I see something on a rose and I think, oh, that's got to be the thing we've got to heal. But not necessarily. You have to just really remain open. And as far as I know myself better, but I'd say am I still impatient? And yes, I can see it coming though, and I can stop it. Let's say I get more distance from my own stuff. I know myself better. I know my nature. Am I completely satisfied with the end product? Not yet. So I still have work to do. I will always still have work to do. I used to think it was going to be done at some point, and then I would be like, this floating through life. No, that doesn't happen that way. So you learn to love yourself, warts and all. And
yeah, that's a big thing.
It's a huge thing. And when you're tired of working on one thing, then work on another, and be sure and validate your progress, because that makes it easier to go on.
So Yvonne, as we wrap up, do you find mentoring rewarding?
Yes, I do. I love to, because people who come to see me, generally I have the same issues within me or have had, them staring, as you meditate and clear things away, it's like they move from right there to where you can see it. And then you can have a different perspective of it when that happens. So I have people come with issues that I'm quite familiar with. And so it's a healing for me too. And I love being able to pass that forward because I know how it feels to drag yourself around with all your warts hanging out.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. So I'm going to wrap things up here, Yvonne. But the one thing that you're going to know about Yvonne, I mean, she's, I don't know, double, triple, quadruple fire sign. Her name means straight shooter. She's a Sagittarian, which is the archer. So the one thing when you choose to work with her and sign up for that additional bonus, she's going to help you get right to the heart of the matter. She's going to hold space while you get to the heart of the matter. And then she's going to help you to use the tools that we teach to navigate your way back out of it. And just help that block get smaller and smaller and smaller until it may be either non-existent or a very quiet little voice in the background. But Yvonne is, what can I say?
A lot of fire, a lot of Sag, a lot of Scorpio. I can't, I mean, it's like, what am I going to do with all that fire?
What are you going to do about it? All right, Yvonne, it's been a load of fun chatting with you. I'm going to go ahead and get off the call, but I really wanted you all to meet Yvonne, especially if you want to sign up for that additional bonus of mentoring. She's got 30 slots for the month, and we've already got a few of those filled. So anyway, Yvonne, thanks for not resisting this and being happy to hop on. And I know when you go back, if you don't mind, go back and read all the comments and respond to them. That would be.
Yes, dear, I know the drill.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks, Nancy.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.